So you're 59 years old, you've saved up $1 million in your portfolio, and the question that you're asking is, am I able to retire? And in this scenario, we're not looking at, am I able to retire? We're actually going to look at, can I retire today? I'm 59 years old, I have a 401k worth $1 million. Can I exit work or never have to go back to my job ever again? That's what we're going to look at. So there are some important things that we have to know when it relates to retirement income planning at a very young age, okay? Investments matter. The $1 million also matters as it relates to the math behind whether this scenario is going to work. But there's also some other items that you need to be able to address and have answers for. In today's episode, I'm not going to unpack all the data around all of these points, but they are things that you need information on, and we're happy to give you information. If you have questions, you can give us a call, or reach out on our website, or click the link below. But the first thing is, if you're only 59 years old, in this scenario, we're assuming all the money is retirement money. Without incurring any kind of penalties, typically the withdrawal age for retirement accounts is age 59 and a half. So if you're only 59 years old, we do have a 6-month window, a period of time that we're going to have to figure out how do we generate income without taking and having and being assessed any kind of penalties. So there is something out there called an age 55 withdrawal from a 401k. There's some rules behind this, but essentially if you're over the age of 55 and you've retired, and the money is still sitting in a 401k plan, specifically the plan that you've retired from, they allow early withdrawals before the age of 59 and a half without penalties. It's called age 55 withdrawal. Okay, so essentially those first 6 months, we're going to need to make sure that we leave enough money inside that 401k to be able to pull money out of and not be assessed the penalty. After that, it's likely that you're going to want to roll those funds or maybe leave just enough money in the 401k and roll the remaining funds into an IRA, because an IRA gives you significantly more investment options, which is what we want in retirement. We want more options to be able to make sure that our allocation is exactly where we need it to be, utilizing the best investments that are available in the market today. The downside to a 401k, actually, if you said, well, I love my 401k, I'm with Vanguard or Fidelity, and these guys are great, the costs are low, so on and so forth, there may be some perks. There's typically pros and cons to everything. The downside to a 401k is they don't allow you to withdraw from specific funds. So let's say you've got a growth portion and a conservative portion, and you only want to take money off that more conservative allocation. 401ks do a pro rata withdrawal, which means you got to sell a portion of everything, which is really not the best strategy. So there are some downsides to the 401k. The IRA, doing that rollover, opens up the investment world to be able to invest in anything that's available to you, but it also gives you a little bit more specificity towards your income. Where do I want my income to be sent from? Or more importantly, which specific investments that I own should be the ones to send me my monthly paychecks, and which of my investments should be left alone to continue to sit out there and grow and try to get those higher rates of returns. And so again, age 55, we want to know how that works as an early withdrawal. Okay, so we got to make sure that we understand the rules that we're entering into. In order to win the game, you got to know the rules. And so age 55, that's an important one. Rolling money over to an IRA to give you more flexibility, more maneuverability. That's an important one as well. And then maybe one of the most important things we have to be able to identify is, what is your health insurance plan going to be? How are you going to be able to provide good quality health insurance in these early years of retirement until you hit age 65? So we want to be able to have a plan and address every single one of those prior to entering into, how do I need to diversify my investments to generate the type of income that I'm looking for? Okay, so we got to make sure that we understand those. After that, we need to know how much income are you going to want or need to support the retirement lifestyle that you'd like to have. And so we've built out a scenario for you. We're going to walk our way through that. I believe this is one that a lot of people can relate to. If this is one that you go, oh, this is a one that does relate to me, then send us the details and let us build one for you. We'll send that over for you. There's no cost for that, so that you can see the scenario for you and your family. So here we have Bob and Sally Beacon. They're both 59 years old. And they are both retired. They're no longer employed, no longer getting any kind of employment income. In this scenario, we're going to have them draw their income at age 62, their Social Security at age 62. If you've ever questioned, should I draw at 62 or my full retirement at 67, we have another episode on our channel here that you can actually go and watch a short clip as we explain how to know when to draw Social Security. In this scenario, we've got them both drawing at age 62, and that's going to deliver $2,000 a month for each of them during those retirement years. So we have investment assets, and each of them have $500,000. Again, we're just making this symmetrical so it's easy to walk through. So Bob has $500,000 in investments and Sally has $500,000, and then they've got $25,000 in savings. So first thing that you'll notice is we've got 4 different accounts out here, 2 for Bob and 2 for Sally. I want to illustrate to you the importance of having a portion of the investments that is specifically designated and designed for higher growth, higher rates of return. So Bob has a growth portion of his portfolio. It's $300,000. And then Sally has a growth portion of her portfolio. It's $300,000. Essentially what we're building here, folks, is a 60-40 kind of an allocation. 60% growth, 40% more conservative. As it relates to the 401ks for each of them, we have $200,000 in this more conservative type allocation. I think it's important to note, when you have a choice for this conservative allocation, there's a lot of different investments, right, that can meet growth. There's a lot of different investments that can give you a conservative allocation. When it comes to retirement and income, you really want to make sure that your conservative allocation is really in an investment that doesn't have any kind of risk tied to it. More importantly, I guess, any kind of market risk. We can't afford to lose $1 of the money that we're going to be counting on to support our income, right? It's almost like, don't gamble the rent money, okay? In retirement, don't gamble the monthly paycheck money. There is a portion we want for growth, and we want to be able to give that the time that's needed to deliver the rate of return we're after. Meanwhile, still providing predictable, reliable income during those retirement years. So we want our conservative allocation to make sure that that's in something that's principal protected from market risk, but still generating a very reasonable rate of return. And in today's market, good news is there's a lot of investments out there giving us a good, reasonable rate of return and also safety from market risk. So as we get into the retirement, what you'll see is in the early years of their retirement, we're targeting $8,000 a month. Without any Social Security to tap into, those first 3 years, we're having to pull $8,000 a month off of the portfolio value. So in those early years, you're going to see a heavier withdrawal rate and a more significant impact against the principal balance of that $1 million. When looking at the rate of return that we're delivering against this analysis, we're using a 6.6% rate of return. More specifically, how did we get to that number? On our growth investments, I'm looking at an 8.5% annualized return. If you look at the S&P 500 from the year 2000 to today, that's 24 years of time with 2 major recessions, right? 2001 and 02 and 2008, and I guess we could throw COVID in there as well, and just some of the volatility and uncertainty that provided. But if you just invested money in the year 2000 and woke up in the year 2024, you would have generated an 8.5% rate of return in a pretty volatile and uncertain market. So that's the rate of return that we're using here. On the conservative money, we're using a 4% allocation. I know the rates of returns are higher today, but we do expect those to go down slightly, so we're trying to anticipate that. And then on our savings, we're looking at 3%. So in this analysis, each dollar is assigned a different rate of return. The weighted average is 6.6%. So if I were to come to you today and go, if we're building a retirement plan and we're looking at assumptions and we're using a 6.6% rate of return average, would you feel like that's conservative enough to feel good about the numbers? We run thousands of these, and all the time people are going, yes, but I'd like to see higher. I'd like to see higher. I know we want to see higher rates of returns, but in this analysis, we kind of want to stress test it a little bit using some of those more conservative rate of return averages to make sure that this actually is attainable during any market condition that we may see. So going back to the retirement tab, again, in these early years, what we're seeing is a much higher rate of return all coming off of the portfolio. So we are seeing that principal balance in those early years starting to go down. We're tapping into the principal a little bit. That's the price to be able to retire at age 59 with the lifestyle that these people want, which isn't uncommon. However, once we turn Social Security on, we're able to lower the rate of withdrawal off of the portfolio now. Instead of pulling $8,000 a month off our investments, we're only pulling $4,000 a month. And again, at our 6.6 rate of return average, we actually do start to see the principal balance begin to increase again over time. So not only are we pulling money off of our investments, but we're also seeing an increase on the value. This transfer value here, periodically you can see we're just going in and rebalancing our 60-40, making sure that our weighting is continuing to happen over time, refilling that income bucket from the profits that are generated off of the growth allocation. So you can see we go all the way down here. I've run this income. We're now getting $12,000 a month. We're 82 years old. At that point, you've been retired for 23 years. We retired at age 59. I'm assuming that you've probably gone and done all of the things that you want to do. We're 82 years old. We had a great life, retired early. At that point, we've still got over $1 million in the bank, and we're going to stop the additional draw. We're living on $7,000 a month, which is still pretty almost $85,000 a year. Great income to be in our early 80s. All the retirees that we have, I have many clients in their 80s. Not many of them are out doing travel across the world anymore. A lot of times the travel is more local, or they're just, they've done everything they want to do. But in this scenario, we were able to provide a retirement at age 59, showed the value of the age 55 withdrawal, showed the value of diversifying into an IRA outside of the 401k. As it relates to healthcare, here in our company, we have a healthcare specialist that can help show you what plans are available here in our state or the state that you reside in to be able to get the best coverage at a very affordable cost. In today's world, we're not going to talk a lot about healthcare today in the show, but there are great options as it relates to getting medical insurance before the age of 65 and not having to go on COBRA, which of course only lasts for 18 months. If you're working with an advisory firm or a financial advisor and they don't have a healthcare specialist in that firm, they're not retirement planning specialists, because anyone who focuses on retirement is going to make sure they have a healthcare specialist in the office to help you navigate early retirement. They're going to have a tax planning specialist as well to make sure that you've looked at the impact of taxes as it relates to income over my retirement years. And here at Beacon, we have a tax specialist here in our office. And so today's analysis really takes that one scenario. I've saved up $1 million or however much it is, and I want to retire early. That's what we're looking at. What you need to know is, based on when you retire and how much money you have, how do we put those dollars to work in the most efficient and the most effective manner to provide the best retirement years that you've worked 30, 40 years for, while minimizing and mitigating the impacts of a very volatile market and all the uncertainties that surrounds us each and every day. There's a way to do that. This is the way that we do it here at our firm, and we've done it for almost 30 years now. and has worked very well for clients in the good times. Of course, that's the easy time, but more importantly, when things do get difficult in the markets, this has been a plan that's provided resiliency and consistency as it relates to cash flow while delivering great rates of return and predictability. Thanks for watching today's show. If you'd like to see an analysis like this for you, or if you want to retire early and you have questions about that, give us a call in the office, or you can click the link below.